Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning to everyone. Thanks for spending your weekends with me this week and next week, inshallah. As you know, the session is going to be split into two separate dates. So today, tomorrow, Monday. So Monday is going to be a bit of a challenge. Uh, Coming this area, I think. Which part did you guys came from? Anybody from? Uh, huh? Okay. Anybody from Ampang side? That side? Kramat Setiawangsa. Okay, a bit of a challenge would be coming around here. Today okay. Today, tomorrow, just be mindful of runners and cyclists because they tend to be around here. Monday a bit of a challenge. Siapa yang datang dari belah-belah macam Singapura tu semua not so bad lah daripada KL City Centre. And those from PJ ke belah sana pun a bit of a challenge. Shah Alam. I'm coming from Bukit Jalil. So I was looking at the map and thinking, mana jalan yang senang And then I think today or tomorrow they're closing some roads because of run. So if you're coming through NPE highway, be careful lah. So I think they close for NPE highway run. So anyway, so you will have a gap about 5 days, 4 days gap. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the following Saturday and Sunday will be your final assessment. You guys know, right, that at the end you will need to do a mock training. Everybody will be given 15 minutes. Topic of choice is up to you. On our side, we don't dictate any particular topic, but I will highly recommend to pick a topic that you are comfortable with. And it will be good if you're taking a topic that you're going to train outside later on, because at least you get feedback, and that feedback is related to something that you're going to do out there. So it makes it a bit more valuable lah. Okay. But having said that, if you feel like for the sake of getting the cert and passing the final assessment, you want to take a different topic, up to you. Okay, choice is yours. I'm giving that I'm putting it out there so that you be aware and have time to think about it. Okay, so I hope you enjoy the session, inshallah, for the next couple of days. Alright, boleh? Okay, and just for your information, this is our 100th TTT batch. So on our side, it's a little bit of a special occasion for you guys, maybe just another training. But it is something that we are very happy about because it's been 5 years plus since we've been doing Train the Trainer, and our alumni just reached the 1,000th alumni in the previous batch. So why I'm telling you this is because it's actually an opportunity. Number one is to build the network amongst yourself. This is your first round of network. 5 days you get to know each other. Some of you are training providers, some of you are freelance trainers. Utilize this time to make friends, build your reputation, for 5 days. And then what you know each other for 5 days, you know how each other works. I think there's no hindrance in recommending. Let's say, for example, if your area of expertise is in sales and marketing, and then one of the training providers is looking for such program. So I believe dah 5 hari kenal kan, naturally you will want to recommend a friend if you come across that kind of work lah. So the idea of this batch being your first layer of network, and then the second layer of network is with Access Ideas and our pool of alumni. So we always welcome you guys if you have any questions, if you have anything to ask, recommendation in terms of who we can work with and whatnot. By all means, come back to us and let us know. And then of course your other networking is out there, because it really helps as a trainer if you have that pool of people that in the same industry but different topics. Okay, so again, welcome you guys to HID Corp Trainers Education course. The program is from HID Corp. We are one of the appointed vendors to run the course. Just note down this event ID, please. 7446. Just put a note down somewhere. either on the folder itself or any piece of paper you have beside you, or in that small blue book that you have in front of you. Just note down the event ID in case of uh, any issues. You can always refer that as your uh, event ID lah for the time being. Okay. So I guess everybody's here. One more. One more. Hopefully we can find parking and make his way into the venue. I think that should be alright. So let's progress into the topic for today. Before we go into the core of the train the trainer program itself. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ahmad Fauzan Osman. You can call me Fauzan. Some of you, I think we are connected on either LinkedIn or Facebook. Um, some of you know me as Sensei. The reason why they call me Sensei is because I used to teach Japanese language. Studied in Japan, came back, worked with a Japanese company, didn't find the passion in it, and then shifted into training industry. Started with teaching something that I know very well, which is the language. Lepas tu, explore. Because the training industry is such a way that once you enter and people like you, they tend to want to connect with you more. So whatever training that you can do, it spills over from there. And like I mentioned, in 2018, we started doing Train the Trainer, the SSIS Malaysia. You get to know me for the next couple of days. Don't worry, I won't bore you with my profile, my life story. But what I want you guys to know is, apart from the notes, apart from what we're going to discuss in terms of the content, I will also share a little bit of my experience, hands-on experience, being an employee, having to train other employees, and then moving on to becoming an employed trainer with the training provider that's training clients, and then moving into freelance. I was also a freelance trainer, and now with Access Ideas, part of the company itself. I'm actually a training provider, business owner. So, in that sense, I hope I can relate to your current situation and help you to find your way in the industry. Inshallah. Okay. Now, one thing that I come across a lot in this past couple of years is, especially for freelance trainer. Any freelance trainers here? Berapa ramai yang freelance? Freelance meaning that even though you have your own setup, you also dwell with collaborate with other training providers. Satu je, ya kan? Yang dah pension ke? Ada.
Tapi belum training lagi.
Belum training.
Belum training lagi.
Sure. Memang betul lah sebab belum dapat sijil kan. So, kalau dah dapat sijil train, tak ada masalah. It's just tak boleh claim Fishery Corp je. Okay, but anyway, the reason why I ask is because freelance trainer, even normal trainer like any other trainer, you will develop a lot of materials, betul tak? You're going to develop slides, notes, your training material, you bawa equipment, you bawa a lot of things, right? But the main issue that we face is always intellectual property. Intellectual property is a two-way street. Number one is you protect other people's rights, meaning that when you refer other people's content in your training, make sure you do it rightfully lah. Meaning that kalau you refer from a book, you put a reference in your notes. If you are training a topic based on something, make sure you have the permission. Some books out there, they have license program. So jangan pandai-pandai train just because you love the book, you want to talk about the book, be careful. Of course, Malaysia enforcement is not that strict lah kan. But now with internet, you record, show, benda tu bahaya sikit. And by the way, I'll deliver mix bahasa Melayu, bahasa Inggeris. That's okay because I find it a little bit more natural and comfortable lah. Kita orang Malaysia kan. But anyway, so because you develop a lot of content, dia macam notes yang ada depan, slides and whatnot, who owns the intellectual property? Let's say, for example, you're a freelance trainer. A training provider approaches you, your name? Loon. L-O-O-N. Loon, okay. Let's say Loon is a freelance trainer. A training provider approaches Loon. The Loon, what topic do you do? apa? Subconscious influence management. Let's say, for example, the training provider is interested in that. Wants you to run a training program for their client. So you develop the slides, material and whatnot. So of course, photocopy, preparing the notes, training provider punya side lah. So dia photostat apa semua kan. Definitely photostat mesti ada extra, betul tak? So now goes to the client, and then you run the program. First round, they pay you, no problem, issue. Second round, the client wants the training program again, but suddenly, for whatever reason, you're not available. So if the training provider, of course, we pick the ones with integrity. Then sometimes desperate, they go out there and find another trainer that can do something similar. They kata, don't worry, we have the notes apa semua, outline semua ready. And they run the program. Because they have registered the program to be claimable, they run the program. Now, Loon will get upset if he knows that the training provider has used the material. Betul tak? Mesti upset. But the question is, who owns that material? In your mind, who do you think owns the material? Sepatutnya siapa yang punya hak? You think whoever registered? Okay. As a freelance trainer, what do you think? Who owns the material? Saja pagi-pagi bagi ni sikit kan?
Pay the money lah.
Oh, okay. Pay the money, okay. Okay. So the thing about Malaysia in general, again disclaimer, just talking in general we are very weak in documentation. So sometimes because dah kenal TTT kawan-kawan and then you just do that. No documentation, very tricky. In case, let's say for example, your program, the subconscious thingy blows up and people make money out of it, mesti lah you upset kan, because you're the one that started it off. So the idea is, number one is always to look at black and white lah, if possible. Number two, as a freelance trainer, you got to be mindful. Betul, siapa yang bayar, dia own the rights. Tetapi it has to be clearly ironed out that when you are paid, you are also paid for conducting and the material. If you are only paid for conducting, the material does not belong to the company. Dia macam, we call it commission work. So commission work, for example, have you guys ever went jalan-jalan and saw people drawing caricature, your face and whatnot kan? So that artist, dia lukis you punya muka. You pay the person like 20 ringgit, 30 ringgit. So you go back and bring that picture lah, he signed. By right, you own because you already paid for him to do the work. Similar with graphic designer. Graphic designer, you selalu buat logo, you paid already, the logo rights belongs to you. Similar training, the training provider asks you to develop the material, they pay you, it's theirs. Tapi rasa macam tak fair kan, sebab dalam PO dia kata you are only there to trade, you are being paid to trade. Content siapa punya? So why I'm telling you this earlier on is because let's do the right things. If you feel that you're going to do freelance and you want to own your intellectual property, there is a way. One of the ways, like I said, through my experience, I can share a little bit. The most cost-effective way, tak keluar duit. Of course keluar duit boleh. You can go to my IPO, register your intellectual property boleh. You're going to take time and also a little bit of money lah. But if you make your training material book friendly, you can actually become an independent publisher. When I say independent publisher, you can actually become one without a company, with your IC number pun boleh, as an individual. Dekat mana? Dengan Perpustakaan Negara Malaysia. Perpustakaan Negara Malaysia, bawah depository, you can actually publish your own content material, either as an e-book or as a physical book. Physical book doesn't necessarily mean yang binding cantik-cantik tu. Macam ni pun okay. The copyright, but this is not my copyright lah. This one is a Shady Corp program kan. So you can do something like this. It's free. Itu yang best tu. And from there, what can happen is all your training materials. This is some of my programs over the years. All of your training materials, you can prove by having that book. You can prove that you own the rights. And the best part about intellectual property ni, hak cipta if you own the right, copyright if you own the rights until after 50 years, you pass away. When I say you pass away, janganlah. But say okay, let's say I pass away, all my training materials for the next 50 years, still I own. So, kalau ada macam royalty ke apa, my inheritance lah, family boleh dapat. Yes.
If someone already published and the material is very similar with what you have.
Okay. Now, comes to a point where the content is very similar. If unintentionally, like people write songs and suddenly the melody is similar to another melody biasa berlaku kan. Of course, you can bring it to court and they will make judgment based on siapa keluarkan dulu, and then whether it's really coincident or memang ada unsur-unsur. So what do I mean by ada unsur-unsur? Let's say for example, it's being published in Australia, and coincidentally, the trainer was travelling through, going to New Zealand. They drop by Australia, maybe they come across that material. Ada possibility that you may have, then nanti the rights belong to the other party lah, something like that lah. I am not an expert in intellectual property, disclaimer, disclaimer. But from what I know, this is one way for you to jaga your punya rights. I'm very passionate about it because I think in Malaysia especially, books open doors for trainers. Masih lagi. Buku tu bila dia kata, I also have a book. Dia sendiri, macam glowing the training. Special. And now, once you have your material in the form of a book, you can negotiate with the training provider and tell the training provider that, okay, material is mine, I will bring this book as dia punya workbook ke, material dalam training ke apa, can you pay me for my book? I give you special price lah. Buku ni I jual RM30, but negotiation with the training provider, one copy, RM10 for participant. That way, you have the ability to jaga your punya copyright. Kalau, of course, I mean, talking about collaboration with trainer and training provider, it's all about roles lah. Siapa mainkan peranan apa. Kalau you freelance, you nak photostat semua, then nanti cost kan. But by right, the role should be with the training provider kan. Dia photostat, binding cantik-cantik apa semua. So, you have to have that knowledge, know-how in order for you to function in the training industry dengan tenang lah. I always say to make life easier, jangan gaduh-gaduh because why gaduh-gaduh? Malaysia training industry very small. Pusing-pusing kita jumpa ni. Definitely, it is not that big yet. But it's comfortable enough untuk cari makan, but you have to do the right things. And I advocate doing the right things, making it into a habit, so that moving forward is nice. So like that, along the way, 5 days, I will share with you guys a little bit of how to maneuver within the industry. Ask question. Sebab kadang-kadang I don't plan for what to share in terms of the stories experience, but if you ask question, insyaAllah, I will accommodate. Okay. Other than that, we will learn what's in the manual. Boleh? Okay. Alright. So you can call me Fauzan, boleh? You nak call me Cik Fauzan, Sensei, doesn't matter. I'm okay. Don't call me Ahmad. Ada Cik Ahmad dekat sini. Dekat sana ada Cik Ahmad. And don't call me Osman. That's my late father's name. My late father was also a trainer. I'm a second generation trainer. I've seen training for the past 30-40 years. Dah tengok dah trik-trik dia. And I think it's time for us to not reinvent the wheel. What works, but what can be improved, kita improve. Because another issue is a lot of trainers, I realize, we inherit activities. We inherit approach. Kita tak tahu kenapa kita buat. Kenapa? Bila tanya kenapa you buat tu? Semua trainer pun buat. For example, very common one. Again, nothing to just for your thought. Bila ada training, usually the trainer will divide you guys into groups, tetap, bagi majung paper, bagi marker pen, ask you to discuss and present, betul tak? Why? Kenapa dia difficult approach tu?
Sometimes speak to the trainer so that you
Oh, okay. Trainer nak ambil masa sekejap. Alright, okay. Any other thoughts? Ada orang cakap nak stretch time a little bit. Ada orang, of course, the idea is to have a little bit of engagement, sharing session, okay, fine. But the question is, why? As long as you understand why and you do it with purpose, I'm okay. I'm not saying that you should not do it, boleh, but do it with purpose. Because remember PKP, what happened during MCO? Face-to-face training tak boleh. So now face-to-face training tak boleh is one part. The second part is they kata you cannot share stationaries. So that kind of activity where you share marker pen or the paper, how? A lot of trainers were stuck in that time because of dia tak biasa dengan approach lain. So the main point is to understand kenapa kita buat, what are we looking for in that particular activity, and what substitute we can do if in the case where you cannot have that kind of method. Okay, so things like that kita akan explore. So I'll try to go into the mechanics of it and not just for the sake of it, because I'm sure most of you dah ada experience training, betul tak? Siapa sini pernah experience training? Yeah, exactly. As a trainer is one part, of course, that I call that as direct experience. The second one is indirect experience. You pernah attend training as a participant. So you pernah tengok kan? So logically kita semua ada that experience, and based on that, kita pun kadang-kadang fikir we are grown adults. We can think. Kita tengok kenapa lah trainer ni buat macam ni? Kan? Apa salah buat ni? Rasa some participant dia rasa deep down inside, rasa macam budak-budak lah. Pernah tak terlintas rasa macam budak-budak lah? And now the question is, kita datang trainer, kita nak belajar adult learning methods. So we're going to explore and we're going to identify what makes the difference between an approach where the participants feel like budak-budak versus the participant feel like, oh, I'm being appreciated as an adult. Regardless, you employee dia ke, you or coming on your own and whatnot. Okay, boleh So kita go along that mode lah. Alright. So we are from Access Ideas Malaysia Sdn Bhd. Our tagline is make training accessible. Dan dia bukan sekadar tagline lah. It also becomes our mission and philosophy. The story behind make training accessible, when I was an employee, there was once a time where I was not allowed to attend training. Why kan? I don't know why. I was an employee long time ago, 20 over years ago. I wanted to attend a training, and it was only an internet training. Bos Jepun nak ajar something. So Jepun nak ajar something, they are not that open lah. They want to teach you something, something yang betul-betul, special lah. So the boss wanted to organize a class, to teach something. I wanted to attend. So I tanya dengan my boss. My boss said, boleh. I will make arrangement for you to attend. So kita pun happy nak attend. On the day that I attended the session, agaknya my boss lupa ke macam mana, my name was not in the attendance. That's why we always ask you, please check nama ada tak, IC number betul tak. Somebody ask me, nak kena tunjuk IC, tak, kita not to that extent. But my name was not there. And Japanese, they prepare ngam-ngam. Kalau ada 10 orang, dia prepare 10 copy. Dia tak suka wastages. Kan? So, attended the session, dia bagi note, suddenly realize, tak cukup. And then dia tengok situ, dia kira lebih. So the person in charge immediately stood up and said, somebody who is here is not supposed to be here, and direct eye contact dengan saya. So I'm like, aduh, rasa macam jantung pukul. Dia suruh keluar, please leave the room. The person in charge. I was like, sebab salah kan, kita okay lah, kita kemas-kemas. Then the Japanese boss said, memang dia nak belajar, you do. But in the future, make sure bagi tahu dia so that they will prepare the notes. But the feeling of not being allowed to sit in the training became macam, I don't know, trauma. Kan? Dia mengganggu. So because of that, I take it positively and said, one day if I ever become a trainer, I want to make training accessible, not just for me, but if people want to learn, they are allowed to. Of course, becoming a business owner, a different story pula lah. Costing plays a different ni pula. Kan? Dia nak buat account ni, Dia tak bayar nak masuk susah lah kan. But the idea here is we want to make training accessible, and I realized throughout my years, one reason why training is not so accessible in Malaysia is because good quality trainers tak ramai. Ada, tak ramai. KL, to be honest with you guys, we open this session. Within a couple of weeks, boleh dapat crowd macam ni. You try buka dekat luar KL. Susah. Susah. Okay, nak buka dekat luar KL, we have to travel. I'm not saying that ni business now I put on the thinking hat of a business owner. Want to travel, ada cost, betul tak? Cost incurred. Hotel pula dia ada minimum number of participant, betul tak? Minimum quantity. So all of that nak buka, orang tak keluar. So people, the business owner tends to think, if tak berbaloi buka dekat luar, then tak buka. So we have lesser of good quality training session conducted in different states. And I'm not just talking about states macam yang jauh-jauh ni. Big states. Big states, even like Johor, even in Penang sometimes, tak banyak. Yang cerita Perlis. Perlis kalau buka training, bandar dia tak ada orang. Marah orang Perlis. I mean, Perlis is such a small state. So then, marah orang Perlis kat sini. But anyway, my point here is that that's the goal. And with me today, I'm not alone. At the back, when kita datang depan, introduce yourself a little bit. Because most of you guys were communicating with either one of them. So yang mana? Which one is which? I'll let them introduce themselves. Silakan.
Hi, good morning. My name is Rashida. So I'm Rashida. So I've been with AAM since 2009. Mostly part saya sebagai start from inquiry until lepas itu dapat saya lah yang
Dia lah yang selalu. Thank you, Syida. You round of applause for Syida. Next one.
Assalamualaikum and good morning. My name is Azizi. You can call me Azizi. I've been working with AIM for 5 years, and I work as a training coordinator. Untuk these 5 days, I will be assisting Fauzan and you guys. If you need any help, just let me know.
Terima kasih. Thank you, Azizi. So we ada Syida and Azizi that will help assist you. And not just assist in terms of tak cukup air ke apa benda macam tu. As you prepare for your final assessment kan, ada nak kena buat session plan dan sebagainya, you can get in touch with them. Dia boleh tolong because kadang tak sempat nak tengok semua orang. They know this program very well. They are very capable to guide and help you. Itu number one. Now beyond trainer, when you go out there, either as a freelance trainer or your own company, sometimes claims processes dia tak berapa faham macam mana nak buat apa semua. Dia yang paling terror bab tu Syida kat belakang, because she does all of the registration of the courses apa semua. And this is where saya highly encourage you guys, if you're thinking for future, you may want to consider employing somebody full time to look into those areas. Pergi kelas, pergi HRD Corp, belajar macam mana claims process apa semua, because if you are the trainer, you'll be in front, you won't have time to think about the nitty-gritty of the administrative part, and your focus should be on content quality and delivery. Yang tu yang penting. So ada satu assistant ke, you want to call the person PA ke apa, up to you, but you need to have that. And if you're going to register your company as a registered training provider dengan HRD Corp, you will need to have at least one permanent staff employee, and you need to have one who has the trainer certificate. And insyaAllah lulus, you will be the one yang ada certificate. So you need to have something. Highly encourage. Wujudkan peluang pekerjaan. Aduh, betul. Kan? Ini semua buat seorang je. Tak boleh. I've done it. I went through that process. Tak boleh tahan. You need somebody. Tak kisahlah. Anak sendiri ke, adik-beradik ke, janji dia ni lah, can really do the work. Okay, so exercises, kenapa saya share pasal exercises juga is because some of you may want to go really seriously into the training industry, set up your own company or not. Even though company yang hantar you training hari ni, tapi maybe later you nak buka company sendiri, insyaAllah we can help, right? Because exercises, kita tak lama lah, kita tak baru about more than about maupun sikit 8 tahun macam tu lah, lebih kurang. Because before that I was a freelance trainer, I started doing enterprise apa semua. Our focus on training is only in the corporate, so-called corporate training market. So question, training market dekat Malaysia, the training market, bila kita sebut training market, what category of training market are you aware of that is out there? Bila dia kata, oh I buat training, I jual training, dia jadi trainer, who is actually your market? Okay, SME lagi, who else? GLC. Okay, all of that kan kita categorize bawah apa nama dia. In Malaysia, basically you have 4 training market yang utama, yang besar, the big 4 lah training market. When I say big 4, of course dia ada yang kecil-kecil, dia ada yang macam pelik-pelik sikit, but mainly there's 4 big training market. The first one is yang paling besar. Okay, sebenarnya I tanya pun I tak tahu mana betul-betul paling besar lah. But in terms of yang selalu trainer approach adalah the first category, kita panggil the government market. You are training pekerja-pekerja dari sektor awam. So this can be from kementerian level. Some of you maybe akan ada opportunity train menteri pun. And I've seen trainer train menteri. Which one? Kita tak mau cerita lah. Tapi memang ada. So that level, all the way until jabatan, agensi apa semua. Sama. Majlis perbandaran. Itu semua kira government. Saya pun dulu adalah sikit-sikit job-job bla-bla sini. So that is one, huge one. Now, the way they function is slightly different. Now, when you go into government sector, be mindful, most of the time, the job is based on your education background. They will pay you, your fee, will be based on your education background. So, kalau you punya education background, ada master's ke, ada PhD ke apa, you get comfortable pay. If they hire you just as a penceramah, of course you can also approach as a whole program. Biasanya, just for your information, nak senang lulus jangan lebih daripada 20,000. The cap is 20,000. 20,000 dia kena ke atas, dia kena masuk mesyuarat, kena ni leceh. So the punya cap usually 20,000 max. Pegawai tu punya ketua ni grade dia boleh approve. Biasanya macam tu lah. Okay, very comfortable. Okay, if you focus on that area, boleh, tak ada masalah. Now, the next big one, bawah sikit, bukanlah bawah sikit in terms of the audience is different, is actually the student market. So, students, siapa yang train students? Okay, what kind of?
I teach.
Lecturer. Okay. Dia punya industri lah. So, when I say students, is daripada sekecil-kecil, kindergarten, primary schools, all the way until graduates. Macam preparing graduates for work kan, belajar tulis resume apa semua. Itu bawah. Because we look at who pays. This one, we call it the sponsor, is based on government punya budget. And as you know, government usually lah, dulu memang confirm, sekarang I'm not too sure. Setiap pekerja dalam sektor awam, dia 7 hari berkhusus, compulsory, 7 days of training per year. So budget ada apa semua. So for students, they may not pay for themselves, there's somebody else who pays. The university ke, the parents ke, the teacher punya association and parent teacher association and whatnot. So that is another. This one is also good market. I won't say it's not a good market, tetapi your audience are students. Lain sikit. Okay, itu satu. Yang kedua, student market is a volume game. So what do I mean by volume game? Student banyak kan, dalam satu dewan 200, 300 student, biasa nampak? So your charges is on per person is very minimal lah, RM10, RM20. But you aim like 600 penuh satu dewan. That is the game for student market. And student market sebelum ni is very shock lah, because dia ada UPSR, dia ada PMR, dia ada SPM. Why benda ni shock? What tuition okay? Apart from tuition? As training, in terms of training. Sambut care, motivasi, study skills, seminar jawab kertas soalan. So now, bila tak ada UPSR, tak ada PMR, sense of urgency kurang sikit kan? So memang drop because of that. Just to share a bit lah. And then every year student baru masuk kan? So never ending betul. Not a bad market, but you got to judge. Saya tak boleh. Saya bukan saya beli lepas student tidur. I don't fit into that. I know where I fit. Okay. Next. Yang besar macam student tapi a bit different is your entrepreneur market. Now entrepreneur market dia tricky sikit sebab entrepreneurs kan cash not so strong. So usually they tie up dengan sini lah, government agency. So contoh, for example, you do training, the training is being organized by, for example, InScare. Your audience is entrepreneurs. Ni biasa nampak kan? Maybe you tie up with MDEC. Your audience adalah entrepreneurs yang nak belajar digital marketing. Banyak macam tu lah. Yang ini, now yang ini again is a volume game, but it's public. They pay themselves. So when they pay themselves, you punya marketing kena strong lah. Billboard tepi highway lah. Tak ada billboard tepi highway, orang tak kenal dia lah. You get what I mean? So the type of topics are related to entrepreneurship lah, business. How to make money is always the most popular ni lah, marketing apa semua. Memang itulah. Kalau cakap process improvement ke apa, dia kurang sikit. Yang itu pergi kat mana? Process improvement, 5S, Kaizen. This is your market lah. Inilah yang kita nak cerita dalam konteks HRD Corp. Because HRD Corp basically is focusing on, of course dia ada juga, but mainly it's here, corporate market. So Access Ideas, kita memang fokus kepada corporate market. Kenapa kita fokus on corporate market? Because kita confident that the choice of, the requirement of topics tu banyak. A lot of topics. Like macam saya dulu ajar bahasa Jepun. Why? Because I attack Japanese company. The employees want to learn a little bit of conversational Japanese. So topik macam tu ada. Supervisory skill boleh. Apa lagi? Time management boleh. Apa lagi? Communication skill boleh. So banyaklah. This similar to this, but because they pay based on you ada boleh claim HRD Corp tak? And I strongly believe most of you guys are here because you have at least encountered at least once orang tanya, you have a TTT cert tak? Some of you maybe thinking, tak apalah dulu pun boleh, sekali tiba-tiba sekarang macam semua orang pun tanya, never mind lah, mana saya take it lah. And because of that, I thank you very much. Because you have the chance to attend many other training providers, tapi you chose us. I'm very happy. Now, in orang kata apa, sebagai dia punya pulangan balik dia adalah, we are also going to share a little bit about how to run a training business in this particular sector. Sebab kita pun sebagai company, kita pernah juga, like I said, kita fokus on HRD Corp je. Tahun 2017, HRD Corp dulu known as HRDF ataupun PSMB, dia ada buat this star rating. Star rating here basically means dia nak tengok how you run your training business. bagus tak bagus apa semua. So kita pun try lah, because we want to know what we are doing, is it right, is it good, is it in line with what they want, and so on so forth. So kita pun go for star rating. Masa tu saya 2% company. Saya tak cakap one man company, 2%. Saya tadi lah kan, dia ada seorang yang tolong saya. So 2% company. So we went for it. Kita try. Di star rating kita dapat 4 star. Selalu memang reaction dia macam ni lah. Bila saya kat 4 star tu macam no reaction. Sebab apa? Dia tak popular. Then nothing big. Tetapi to us is huge, because we got 4 out of 5. Now 4 out of 5 during this time, saya nak tanya, ada berapa banyak training provider companies sebenarnya yang registered for PSMB? Do you know how many companies are there? 3,000 plus. Okay? Sekarang banyak sikit lah. Masa kita dapat ni, it was around 3,500 companies, registered company. In Klang Valley, it was 827. 800 lebih company. We got 4 star, we were number 43. Okay lah. Baru lah ada seorang macam nak support saya. No, it's okay. That's not the point. The point is, we are happy because it's an endorsement that we are doing the right things. So number 43 out of the whole 3,000 plus, not bad. Tetapi the problem dekat Malaysia when it comes to rating ni, of course akan ada argument lah. Ya ke? Kenapa company kecil macam tu boleh dapat 4 star? Kenapa company besar? We were under scrutinization, they were under fire because banyak company yang besar tak dapat pun 4 star. Kita senang je. HRD Corp suruh buat macam tu, kita buat macam tu. Itu follow. Masa time, just 1 year before this, they said only Sendirian Berhad. So kita pun itu yang kita tukar jadi akses saja Sendirian Berhad. Dulu enterprise boleh. But then complain, and then they put U-turn. So now Sendirian Berhad boleh. Dulu nak kena ada training room, sekarang tak perlu. So masa time ni kita terpaksa invest lah. We had to get the training room. Had to fit 35 people in the training room. 35 packs, the training room must be bigger than this. Kan? So point, lepas tu dia kata meja yang student punya meja macam tu tak boleh pakai, kena pakai proper banquet table apa semua. So we follow. But to me, it was nothing wrong because it helps us to progress forward. So kita buat, kita dapat macam tu. Sayangnya bila kita nak buat lagi, they stop the initiative. So kita tak tahu sekarang kita kat mana in terms of how good we are. So I always take this as a measurement to see whether you are doing the right things or not lah. So lepas tu kita fikir dah tak ada how else to prove that we are doing the right things. So kita pun pergi for in last year, masa time tu Syida join, dia kata Syida ada ni, bolehlah ada extra help sikit. We go for ISO and we managed to get ISO. Meaning that the way we do things okay lah, boleh tahan lah. That's why communication wise ke documentation wise kita remember I told you in terms of your intellectual property. So sekarang ni pun even with associate trainer, if you want to become associate trainer with Access Ideas, kita akan ada proper documentation. You tengok, you puas hati tak payment punya price range macam mana. Semua make it very clear. Kalau you buat content, the content belongs to you. We have all of those agreement in place because we want to do things right. Itu kita punya cara lah. So hopefully we can also impart a little bit of that to how we do things. Of course, some of you maybe dia punya company lagi established lah, Petronas power lah, kan? Petronas power, dia tak macam lain. Nanti dia tengok baru satu ISO, kita Petronas 3 ISO. Okay, but that's something that I would like to share with you guys. Okay, boleh? So don't worry, insyaAllah you'll be in good hands for the next 5 days for the program. And our goal in this program is very simple, very straightforward. We want you to go through the modules for you to experience the concept and theories, and not just hafal. But ini bukan sekolah kan, kita bukan nak you hafal content. You're not going to train the trainer content, but we want you to understand why. We want you to experience the concept and theories, and then of course we want you to practice the technique in the final day, the assessment, you will need to deliver a mock training. So my expectation is for you to apply what you learn. So kalau dalam ni you learn in the beginning you have to do this, you apply. You need to bring notes, you bring notes. Benda-benda macam tu lah. And of course, we all can improve further. So the main point is to understand that you can always improve. The biggest room is always room for improvement. Kita buat, okay, kita improve sikit. I'm sure bila tengok dari segi wajahnya, nampak wajah-wajah ni, the faces dia very experienced punya wajah. Bukan nak kata tua lah. Kita nak kata you have experience. Meaning that you may have conducted training before. So kita nak tengok how you can enhance and improve a little bit more. Especially when you want to function in this particular area. And by the way, to transition into this, dia kadang-kadang tough sikit. For example, kalau kita biasa train macam tadi saya kata majlis perbandaran. Train majlis perbandaran, dia nak approach kementerian. Siapa lagi tinggi in terms of dia punya image, kementerian atau majlis perbandaran? Kementerian kan? So sometimes that experience dia tengok as alah, you tak biasa buat kementerian. You get what I mean tak? So what I would like you to be mindful of is tengok balik you punya past clients, try to see mana ranking yang tinggi, so that you know when you approach a certain client, you use that as your testimonial ke apa. So for example, you biasa buat majlis perbandaran, dia tak biasa buat kementerian. So the idea here is to ulun habis majlis perbandaran, you go to majlis perbandaran yang paling gah sekali siapa? Yang macam image dia online DBKL, let's say DBKL lah. DBKL, oh okay DBKL. So now DBKL, kalau dalam list of kementerian-kementerian, jabatan-jabatan ni, dia tinggi sikit daripada siapa? You attack. So you build up your way up. So kementerian paling tinggi siapa? Paling power? Oh kewangan, okay kewangan. So kalau kewangan, if you want to cross over to corporate company mana yang akan tengok Kementerian Kewangan dan say, oh ni dia pernah buat ni. Dia nak masuk Petronas susah sikit lah, Petronas lagi tinggi dia. Kan, dia tengok, so that's what I mean. So sama juga, if you want to transition between ni, you got to be mindful of how they will evaluate your background. So, yes.
Yeah, I have a question for
Yes.
Okay, what if you don't have, you've never had experience, how do you transition into corporate?
Okay, there of course experience will be an advantage. If you don't have that experience, then your strategy changes a bit. You don't highlight that part. So what you do is you highlight on your philosophies. This is my way of thinking. Kalau you ada background yang suitable, okay, boleh. Background sama juga dengan experience apa semua, boleh. Tapi let's say you don't have that. Saya tengok sini yang nampak muka muda lah. Contoh nampak macam muka muda, I tak tanya lagi background dia. So what do you do? If you're a freelance trainer, you're new into the market, you don't have a list of clients, your portfolio tak strong lagi, what do? You highlight more on your philosophies. So for example, I berpegang pada this particular philosophy. So you push that forward first. Until you get your 1, 2, 3 clients, then you build up lah. You build up. Now, as you want to transition, you be mindful of how you write your trainer profile. Now, trainer profile is not part of TTT, but just to share a little bit, when you write up your trainer profile, make sure you highlight the right things. Sama macam cerita resume. There's no one size fit all. But if you're going to train this particular topic to this particular client, you adjust sikit lah. You highlight apa yang relevan pada dia. Like what I did when I first started off. I had no background. What I did was, I talked about Japanese because I studied in Japan. I teach Japanese language, but that was my first way in. So bila saya dah pernah train Japanese language, I train Japanese language, masa time tu one of the company is Promintek. So bila dah train Promintek, That is a manufacturing. So now when I want to go into next, I check out my experience in manufacturing lah. You get what I mean? So you leverage ting tong, after a couple of years, insyaAllah your profile will be boleh tahan. Now, satu saya nak pesan. I know you are a lecturer, PhD?
No.
Not yet,
No,
not yet.
not yet.
Not yet. Transitioning from academic to corporate and so on and so forth. Sometimes, I'm not saying every time, sometimes kalau you punya qualification tu tinggi sangat, they may not be keen because they feel that academicians are too academic theory. So sometimes putting the doctor in front of your name may not be advantage. This is experience that I've seen over the years lah. Saya bagi sikit tips macam tu. Just be mindful of that. So the game dia macam tu. Okay. But of course you can ask question along the way. And how I approach trainer ni kadang-kadang dia macam Lego. Kita boleh tengok Lego kat depan ni kan. What can we make out of this Lego pieces? Anything. Okay. Let's say kita nak buat F1 car out of the Lego pieces. What should we do? What's the right way of building Lego punya ni? Oh, YouTube video, okay. Now this, orang dia nampak jawapan dia. Saya tak nak jemput jawapan ni sebenarnya. Tengok YouTube lagi. But naturally, if let's say you want to build a Lego of a F1 car, so you nak pergi beli. So how do you know which one to buy? Oh, sekarang pakai AI. How do you go to the shop and which one to buy? You tengok apa? You get the box, and then you follow the instruction inside it. Dia taklah terus approach pergi beli Lego yang 5 kilo tu. Betul tak? You buy your box, right? So if you follow the instruction kata put this together, and then it will come out very nicely. You want to build an F1 car, you beli set F1 car. You want to build a house, you buy a set house. You want to build helmet stormtrooper, you beli helmet stormtrooper. You want to build an aeroplane, you follow, dia jadi aeroplane. Betul tak? So similar to train the trainer. You can interact with me, ask me questions, tak ada masalah. I'll try to respond to my best ability. By the end of the day, you want to get the certificate, you must follow the steps, the instructions. Follow. After you finish PTT, you get the certificate, you go out there, you hit the market. Coming back to Lego. Siapa sini Lego yang suka main Lego yang collector? Kalau collector biasa dia buat apa? Dia build, lepas tu dia display, masuk dalam casing apa semua kan. Kalau yang typical Lego punya yang main-main ni budak-budak ke, buat dia do? Dia dah build, lepas tu orang buka balik, buat benda lain. Okay, similar to trainer. You come, you gain whatever you gain. After this, you want to explore, you want to take some of your lessons here and do something. By all means, you are free to do that. Your choice, tak ada masalah. Sama macam main Lego. So kalau you habis tu you buat macam ni jadi kau terbang, is it okay? Boleh kan? Tak ada masalah. As long as you're satisfied with it, boleh saja. So like that, what you do after this, I won't dictate. But along the context of train the trainer, I will share with you this particular market with the banner or the flag of HID Corp courses. Okay, kalau you buat yang program tak claim, yang tak ada berkaitan dengan HID Corp. Let's say for example, you do a program is for entrepreneurs. They are still adults, betul? The strategy is slightly different. Dia tak claim. Bila dia tak claim, your CJ, your TTT cert is not going to be a major requirement. It may not help you gain certain fee range. So macam you go to government side, you go back to your last highest education. Macam saya, my highest education diploma. So if I go and train government, the reason why I don't train much government nowadays is because dia bayar saya harga diploma. And that's not nice when you have years of experience. Because the years of experience should enable you to earn a little bit better. And quality lah. That's what I mean. I'm not saying that it's wrong or not. Tapi if you find it comfortable, you suka, by all means, continue. If you find a way around it, tak ada masalah. So that's the idea. Boleh? Okay, can? It will open up a lot of possibilities and ideas for you to think about for the next couple of days. Okay, and then for train the trainer itself, the building blocks. Apa dia building blocks dia? Okay, first things first, of course the module lah. First module kita akan spend a little bit more time to discuss is planned adult learning. Because kita nak make sure we really know the difference between training adults and non-adults. How do we define? How do we define the difference between lecturing and training? Coaching and training? Facilitating and training. Kita nak explore benda ni so that we know when to use what approach. Contoh kan, dalam bahasa Melayu selalu keluar kursus sekian. Ada paper pula keluar bengkel sekian. What's the difference between kursus and bengkel? Okay, not bad, quite good. Lagi? Apa beza? Apa beza seminar? So all of this sebenarnya ada reason lah kenapa nama-nama dia tu. And berapa ramai participant and what not. All of this kita nak explore based on the first module, planned adult learning. We're going to spend a bit more time on that. Then we're going to talk about TNA, training needs analysis. Siapa sini biasa dengan training needs analysis? Have you conducted before? Pernah? Untuk internal ke external ke macam mana? Internal. Okay, very good. So kita ada orang yang ada experience dalam TNA. Maybe nanti dia boleh share sedikit. Why TNA is important? Kenapa Cik Ahmad TNA itu penting? Betul?
So what's required for the person, what kind of training, what purposes.
Exactly.
And then after that, we have to do the analysis of each training provided that employee lah. So we have to analyze why we have to do that, and then also, but also time is the budget as well lah.
Tu dia. Dia boleh trade. Kenapa kena buat TNA tu? Coming back to here. Okay. Bila kita buat macam ni, remember this market dia based on what? KPI dia adalah setiap pekerja 7 hari kursus. So what kind of kursus nak maximize that 7 hari kena buat TNA. Now this market kena buat TNA tak? Kalau boleh buat bagus, tapi biasanya orang tak buat sangat because every year pun benda tu juga. Every year pun nak study for SPM. Jadi benda tu not really required much. For this TNA perlu tak? Perlu. But the next question is, TNA tu ada cost tak? Siapa nak pay the cost? And then entrepreneurs kan? Entrepreneurs when you do, you want to check dia punya needs apa semua. Kadang-kadang dia certain things dia tak comfortable orang tengok. Oh, this is my trade secret, cannot show. So dia susah sikit. Yang paling suka TNA siapa dia? Why? Betul? Logically itu betul. But why? Baik-baik kita tengok balik kepada HRD Corp. Duit tu duit siapa? The pool of fund is meant for training purposes. So nak bagi make sure training tu dijalankan dengan betul, justify the spending of the training. So because of that, kena buat training needs analysis. And at least kita as trainers, we must know what is TNA all about. Because some of you internally you have to do TNA, fine. Some of you maybe you are hired by external party to do TNA for their company. Ada possibility tu. Jarang berlaku tapi ada. Saya pun dalam banyak tahun dapat 2-3 kali je buat macam tu. Because external panggil untuk buat ni. And then dalam train the trainer kita nak the trainers to understand from the trainer perspective what you can do for you to prepare a mini TNA. What do I mean by mini TNA? Macam apa yang Cik Ahmad cerita tadi, is very comprehensive because the company wants to know what kind of training I should send my people to. Betul tak? That's the main point of it. Okay. Now, most of the freelance trainer, you don't get the opportunity to go into the company beforehand. Very seldom. Sebab apa? Let's say for example, saya cakap, I want to visit your company, I want to do some fact finding, I want to really understand your business operation before I propose a training program. So client kata apa? Tak, kita just baru nak minta 3 quotation dulu. We haven't decided to select you yet. So because of that, we just want for reference lah, just nak study dulu. So very seldom you get to do TNA beforehand. So what tends to happen in the industry is that trainer datang dalam bilik training, then dia jumpa participant. So the mini TNA happens in the training room. Biasa tak pergi training, dia tanya, okay semua minta introduce apa semua, and then dia kata, saya pun tak tahu kenapa saya dekat sini. Saya ganti bos saya. Saya pun tak tahu kenapa nama saya kena ni. Bos hantar saya attend. There are a lot of the time where you have your audience, they are not really clear in terms of why they are there. So you need to do a mini TNA on the spot to identify how you can fit your content to engage with them. Barulah training tu ada good interaction. Kalau tak nanti dia tak interested, dia tak tahu kenapa dia ada dekat situ, and yet you kena stay for 5 days, dia kena dia apa? Apa lah Cik Wazan ni dia buka lah phone. Kalau dia tak tahu kenapa dia ada dekat situ. Different from you guys. You guys are here, you ada intention. That's why everybody's more alert than everybody. Yes. Yes.
So,
Betul.
So, however, but the PIC that you do is not enabling you to do that.
Exactly.
So, from that experience, how do we actually convince the PIC and enable us to
do TNA? In short, very seldom you do to that extent. You don't try to convince them. You try to get the job first. Try to get the job. Reality, you try to get the job first. You secure the job, and then before the training itself, you put up some mechanism for you to get some information about the participants before they attend. For example, you can do like a mini questionnaire. You don't get to meet them face to face. Maybe you can do a prerequisite. You know, you tell them, okay, they are required to do this. Depend on what kind of program, you can do that first. But to convince, coming back to convince them to hire you or to give you certain information, what we're going to talk about, discuss here is basically for us to know the right questioning techniques to ask the right question for you to get some good inputs for you to work out your proposal. One part of it. So at least when you have that conversation with your client or prospect, you can ask some question to help you decide the right content for you to come up with a proposal to do that. Of course, I mean, concept theory in books kan, kita selalu cerita benda yang best. Ideal situation. Very seldom you get ideal situation. This is normal. Hope that helps to answer your question a little bit as we move forward. Because of course, the main point is to do that. But jarang dapat.
Yeah, I understand. But like, for my thinking is going back to that example that you gave. I ganti bos, I dah tahu kenapa I dekat sini. So this would actually affect the dynamic of the
Of course.
and it will reflect on the trainer side.
Exactly.
So the ideal situation is that we actually prep the trainees to be in the state of mind to be in the position to come and learn.
Yes.
So from your experience, how do you enable that?
That comes to the next part. Having the ability to design the training program that enables you to set the right tone and set the right expectation to the client. Based on understanding how adults think, based on understanding basically how organization functions. And then when you design, you move on to, are we going to stop at design? Kita jadi trainer, kita buat sampai design? Tak kan? Definitely we're going to conduct, right? So the mechanics of this tool should fit this tool. That's the idea. So when we design, kita design precise sikit lah. Not just design short sendiri. Banyak trainer I've also went through some experience where due to limitation of information, kita terpaksa design something very generic. Generic tu not so bad. Ada yang trainer shop sendiri. Dia buat outline, dia buat program, dia pergi hit the market. And then dia kata, tak ada respon lah. Why ah? Because you design program that not necessarily fit the needs of the market. Pun jadi masalah juga. So the idea here is to learn this too and come up with at least a good enough training for you and give yourself that buffer space so that in the training itself you still have time to talk to the participant and try to adjust your content to fit them. Yeah.
What happens if the participants in terms of their knowledge gap is too big? How will you work?
Okay. Of course, ideally tak patut jadi macam tu lah. Because if you do proper T&A, you do proper selection of participants, you won't get a huge gap. But of course, in you know normal life, you akan dapat situation every now and then you dapat situation where the gap ada yang betul-betul basic, ada yang betul-betul dah advance. So that is where you try to cater. Nak cater mana? Yang advance ke yang tak advance? Mana satu yang nak cater? Kalau you cater yang advance, apa jadi? Basic and intermediate course. So kalau you cater yang bawah sekali, apa jadi? Advance boring kan? So there are several strategies. One of them is how you approach the session. Maybe you buat activity where they need to partner. So you pairkan yang advance tu, you suruh dia tengokkan sikit. But of course, that is conceptual lah. The actual person kalau dia jenis advance tapi dia tak ada hati nak tolong orang lain, that one different story. Because humans every time you have a class, everybody is different. Everybody has different characteristics. Your intention is, orang yang dah offline ni mungkin baik lah, boleh tolong yang junior ni. Suddenly dia kata, nasib bang, saya dulu makan garam kan. Dia cerita macam tu tak? Saya dulu susah dulu. Then that mindset, dia tak boleh nak approach macam tu, tak jadi. So there is no one size fit all, there is no right answer. But basically the idea is, it has to go case by case. In essence, how you approach the ni sangat penting. That's why ini clearkan dulu, especially this one lah, the first module, and then this one will be very quick. Now, one part yang a lot of trainers lupa adalah the last one, which is, take a look we are talking about competency-based competency. The word competency keluar banyak dekat sini. So we are focusing on competency type of training, not motivation type of training. Motivation type of training lain, dia bagi semangat saja. Competency based means you must impart something yang measurable. Why? Because at the end you want to measure, you want to assess, dia dapat tak dapat, dia faham tak faham, dia boleh buat ke tak boleh buat. So if let's say dia hantar participant yang wide range, don't know why they replace boss, does this person need that competency? Kalau this person doesn't need that competency, why are they in the class? You go back to managing the participant itself lah. Tapi kalau dia orang ni semua memang kena fast track, dia panggil apa, macam crash course, then you have to strategize properly to ensure that you deliver the right competency. Nanti kita explore apa tu competency, how to go in detail lah. Now for you guys, you will go through this 5 module and hopefully at the end of the day be competent enough to get that certificate. So that's the flow. So the idea of going through these 5 days is actually going through the building blocks of how to look at training in that particular angle. Okay? Boleh? Ada apa-apa soalan? All good? Yeah? Okay. Passing rate ke, passing mark ke, passing percentage ke? Passing mark 75, 75. Passing mark. Passing rate. Nah, biasanya lah dalam 10 biasanya 2 sangkut. Dalam 10 orang 2 sangkut. But don't worry, you guys ada 13 orang. So I don't know whether that extra 3 akan bantu dekat mana lah. But the point is that, okay, when I say ada yang tak lulus dan sebagainya, of course the next question you have in mind is why? How come? Kan? Yang itulah yang jadi questionnya. But I will try to make sure. I don't guarantee you pass. I never guarantee people pass, because pass or not is based on siapa punya effort. Normal case kenapa dia fail? The game. Stubborn is number 1. Yeah. Macam kita nak buat Lego, kita pasang, patut tayar letak sini, letak kat atas. I bagi terang, because number 1 is always the game, stubborn, ego, it's always that. Saya paling risau sikit benda ni. That's why I like to take things slow and relax, because you know, we are all here to get a certificate. I'm here to impart and also assess. So dekat situ, aku bukan sengaja nak failkan ni. Oh by the way, tadi kita cerita training provider company in 2017, 2018 ada lebih kurang 3,500 company. Sekarang ada berapa banyak? Training provider company. Ni kita cerita market, kita cerita training provider company. Training provider company ada berapa? Training provider kita call it TP, training provider. TP ada lebih kurang more or less registered under Syarikat. Yang tak register bawah Syarikat pun banyak. Means that they hit other markets lah. Remember when I say Syarikat market, I'm referring to the corporate market. Trainer berapa ramai? Certified trainers. And certified trainers here means Syarikat certified trainers. Berapa ramai? Salah satu syarat adalah setiap company mesti ada sekurang-kurangnya satu certified, kan tadi saya beritahu kan. So, minimum ada berapa? Sepatutnya lah. Lebih kurang plus minus about certified trainers to date. Ramai tak? Ramai. Betul. So the next question is how do you stand out in that particular area? And nak beritahu terang-terang, ada sijil saja, it's really nothing so special lah. It's just macam license lah. You ada lesen, so that bila JPJ tahan, check lesen, you tak kena saman. Tapi kalau you tak ada lesen, you boleh bawa kereta tak? Ada tak orang ada lesen tapi tak boleh bawa kereta? So ada juga yang 32,000 ni dia ada lesen tapi dia tak pandai atau tak fluent in training. Normal lah. For many reasons. Kita ada dalam 1,000 lebih alumni. I can tell you that yang aktif betul-betul, there's a handful of yang betul-betul aktif. Yang rest, sometimes they go back to dia punya comfort zone. Dia biasa buat entrepreneur punya market. Entrepreneur tak claim Syarikat. Dia attend TTT, dia belajar. Dia try nak penetrate corporate market, tak boleh penetrate. So dia go back to dia punya students, entrepreneur, government side. Nothing wrong with that. Okay je. Sayang. So coming back to the point, I bukan nak sekat. I don't mind you guys entering the market to become trainers. So, but it's my responsibility to ensure that when you enter, you are also competitive enough, qualified lah. Sebab tu bila kita assess, if you don't meet the minimum requirements, I cannot pass you for the sake of dah bayar, therefore I berhak untuk lulus. Tak boleh, because it's a assessment mechanism in place. Okay? Yes.
What happens if you gagal assessment?
Okay. Okay. Pagi-pagi ni kita jangan fikir negatif lah. Okay. Our procedure is you will need to come back for reassessment. Reassessment and not come back for the whole 5 days. Come back for reassessment. In fact, sekarang pun kita tengah ada in hand dalam 5 orang yang waiting to be reassessed. Masalah dia adalah nowadays bila kita buka je kelas 13-14 orang, which you guys punya assessment saja will take up almost the whole day. So because of that, slow sikit lah untuk reassessment tu. The idea is don't think on that mode. Think how do I make sure I pass? Work hard. So you guys ada advantage because 3 hari, 4 days break, nanti ada 2 hari kan. So you have time to prepare. Some other participants straight 5 days, so everything must happen. Belajar terus. Pro and con. Yang itu ada momentum. Yang ni satu hal is habis 3 hari, 4 hari, then start busy balik kerja, work and whatnot. Datang balik Sabtu depan, slide start ready. Susah. But to me, it's a reflection of your character. Character of a trainer ni kadang-kadang when we discuss about character of a trainer, it's not just simply you have the talent to speak in front. It's really the discipline, benda-benda tu come from that sebenarnya. But that is not being evaluated. Yeah, evaluated based on your performance when you deliver. Yes. Yes.
Just now that the 3 days gap, now we have is more advantages than the people. 5 days. What the 3 days is advantages than the 5 days then?
Yeah, you have time to prepare.
Prepare because prepare for presentation. Is it all the same? So if you go straight 5 days also.
Go
What
straight
is the
5 days.
That what will be the obstacle to that?
Straight 5 days.
Huh.
Straight 5 days is time.
Time.
Time because you need to curi masa in between the 3 days to start working on your not just slides, other things juga, but yeah, to prepare for your delivery. Contoh, for example, a participant wants to talk about one particular equipment. And saya bagi satu contoh real example. Masa tu kita buat kat Johor. Kita buat dekat Johor, satu participant ni dia bercerita tentang AED machine. You guys know the AED yang selalu tepi ada yang untuk heart tu kan. So dia cerita tu, dia punya training 5 days straight kan. Equipment tu of course tak bawa lah. Tak not available, equipment pun mahal. So setiap hari, every day, lunch time, kadang-kadang dia makan sikit, lepas tu dia keluar. Kita punya style is we try as much as possible to have the session dekat dengan mall ke, dekat dengan kedai, at least DIY lah. Dekat saya dia DIY kan. Because along the way nanti dia akan pergi, dia akan beli barang lah. On the daily basis, dia keluar beli something. On the day, the final day itself, dia ada macam mock punya equipment. Dia buat. Dia ada box, dia balut, dia letak, nampak macam AED lah. So that bila dia buat dengan session, dia buat practical. Tampal dekat sini, tampal dekat sini. So that effort to me, dia punya delivery so-so je pun, that effort kita rasa macam dia ni pergi jauh lah. Kalaupun markah dia cukup atau just 1 or 2 marks kan, kita tengoklah dekat mana kita boleh, because itu penting. And this is something that I cannot teach. I can show as ni, but I cannot teach, I cannot impart. It's building. Kalau dia punya karakter memang yang betul-betul ada passion kan, memang okey. Tapi ada setengah tu jangan main lah. Jadi itu nombor 2 kenapa yang selalu sangkut. They take it too lightly. They tak take seriously. Boleh lah datang depan cakap je lah. Okay, different. You cannot look at how I do the session versus how you want to approach the 15 minutes. I have 5 days. You guys have 15 minutes. So things must happen in a very precise and systematic manner to pass. Okay. Basically, I want you guys to become John Wick and not John Rambo. You know John Rambo? Yang cek yang muda-muda ni. John Rambo kenal tak? Tak kenal. John Wick kita tahu kan? Kita tanya orang belakang. Sylvester Stallone, Rambo. So Rambo kalau dia tembak macam mana? Dia masuk bullet dia infinity. Kan? Ada je. Tapi kalau John Wick, dia masuk satu bullet, satu. Kan? Kalau tak ada pencil pun dia boleh buat dengan orang. So we want you to become like that. Precision and not just spray and pray. Spray and pray, mudah-mudahan. Very precise. Okay. So now, a little bit on the schedule before we meet. Schedule kita quite packed juga, but main point is the last day, which falls on next Sunday. So you have 15 minutes, one shot to get certified. Fair? Oh, suspend lah. Well, one shot. Fair? Hopefully fair lah. Macam mana nak bagi jadi lebih fair, lebih advantage to you guys? Practice lah kan. Nama pun training kan, practice kan. So that is what we'll do. In fact, this is what we do, slightly different from other providers. I cannot say what they do, but for us, on day 4, is actually we're going to do a dry run. This is why I mean you have a little bit of advantage because of the gap in between. Day 4 is the dry run. So you come back next Saturday, you deliver as per it's your final day. I will give marks. Kalau tak cukup, I will tell you dekat mana tak cukup for you to improve on the final day. Fair? So we won't spend time here to work on your slides apa semua because I believe that one is you punya specialty lah. Some of you go back, you buat sekejap dia siap. Some of you maybe require extra ni, you do that lah. Tapi next Saturday you come, dry run. You perform, I grade you, I let you know where you improve. Come Sunday, datang balik, train, lulus. Yes.
Mr. Fauzan, it's the same topic, right? For
Yes.
this one, day
Yes.
five? Okay.
Same. Plus the slight improvement lah. Tapi kan, tak best pula kan? Sebab saya dah tengok 2 kali je. Kan? The element of surprise dah tak ada kan? So how kan? How to keep it lively, to keep it exciting. Dan saya pun nak tengok 2 kali. You know, sometimes 5 days with you guys, I boleh jadi bias sikit. Bias ni boleh jadi 2. Satu bias, I like you, I give you more marks. Tak patut. Ataupun saya tak suka you, I tolak markah pun tak patut. So, in order for this to be like a clean slate, on our part, we will invite a second assessor, independent assessor. Dia tak kenal you, dia datang, dia sit at the back, dia observe. Kalau you cukup markah lulus, you lulus. Fair tak? So at least on our part, we maintain the integrity of the program. You get to practice, you get to get feedback on day 4. You have 1 night to fine tune sikit. Last day you datang, you perform, lulus, you get the certificate. Okay kan? Betul eh? So, datang balik soalan. Kenapa boleh fail 2 orang tadi? Agak-agak. That's why I mentioned, no, tak apa lah. Kita dah bagi you practice, kita dah bagi feedback. Datang hari kedua, macam tu juga. Salah. Because it's no longer my marks. It's my and my second assessor's marks. Kita check. If you did well, your effort tadi, bolehlah saya kata, oh dia ni okay, semalam better. I can say that lah. Kan? But if tak, back to you lah. Boleh? Any questions? So that's why we split 3 and 2. 3 days sampai Isnin, and then you gather break sikit, prepare your best. Saturday datang, that is your show. I evaluate. Okay. Kamu muka suspend ni semua. Should be okay, should be okay. So now a few things that we just touched base a little bit lah. At the end of 5 days, what we want to happen for trainer, number 1 is for you to look at the characteristics of a competent trainer. Kita nak discuss ni. We're going to talk about adult learning principles, how you apply that in your training session. Understand the steps that you need to do to conduct a mini TNA, at least with your training. Design a competency-based training program, and also deliver successfully. And the dry run and the final day would be a practical way for you to understand what assessment is all about. Boleh Very straightforward. Okay. Now, of course, dia banyak kerja sikit. But like I said, you have the advantage of the 3 days in between. Notes are there. The notes is reader friendly, so you boleh baca during your spare time. It's a lot. 100 over pages. I won't go through page by page, line by line, but what I'll do is I highlight the key important areas. Okay, and on the side, you have some colored papers, betul? We will go through the colored papers as and when. So I will highlight. Let's say for example, I say okay, bawah kita warna hijau. So you find the green paper and then we'll discuss that. The reason why this happened is because of pandemic lah. Dulu kita distribute paper, nowadays kita letak set color coded. But anyway, something to take a look. And then you have this, pinjam sekejap, you have this book with you. Okay, so this small book, cuba you buka tengok, okay, take a look inside. It's actually meant to be a training in a training. What do I mean by training in a training? A small book is for you to take down notes. Okay, the lines, lepas tu dia ada empty space, kan? Saya suka conteng-conteng dekat depan tu, so nanti saya akan conteng-conteng, nak copy kat situ. The important part is the boxes. There's one box, dekat atas tu dia tulis apa? Ideas. Ideas is something that is for future. As we discuss, something crosses your mind, you can jot down dekat ideas. Maybe something to do with setting up the company ke apa, you can put down there. Okay, kotak yang bawah tu dia tulis action items. Reserve that box mainly for tips related to your final assessment. So nanti final assessment, I say, okay, don't forget, you must do this. You jot down dekat action items. Any page pun tak apa. So when you want to go back and prepare, you just tengok balik the action items so that you don't miss out on what needs to be done for the final assessment. Okay? So it's actually trying to help you to take notes a bit more structured. Okay, not to say that you cannot use your own personal note, tak ada masalah. You nak take digital notes pun okay. Nak ambil gambar slides, but I don't give away my slides, so you nak take a picture, go ahead. That's just my style. Okay, so that's on the material itself. Boleh? Yeah. Next, distraction. Hari ni okay, besok okay, Monday phone calls coming in, emails coming in, macam-macam benda. In terms of distraction, please manage. We are all adults, so manage your distractions carefully. Phones. Okay. Siapa sini yang social media dia, follower dia ada puluh-puluh ribu ke, ratus ribu ada? Influencer. Dia tak tahu, sebab saya kena tanya. Kadang-kadang ni kan. I don't mind you nak. There was one participant, dia ada this 300-day challenge where every day at certain time dia kena buat live. Buat lah, but don't lah buat live dekat depan ni ke, find a nice corner and go ahead. Okay, I don't mind you taking picture, you nak buat TikTok sikit-sikit ke apa, jangan suruh orang ramai-ramai menari lah. But don't disturb the class, that's what I mean. And if you need to respond to a phone call, by all means you can step at the back or step outside and just answer the call, I'm okay. I totally understand that. Okay, jangan disturb the flow of the class. That's all that I request of you. So going out into toilet ke apa, toilet dekat the water machine tu, water dispenser machine tu, dalam tu, tengok betul-betul pintu tu, jangan salah keluar pintu. Makan semua nanti dekat belah sana. Kita punya break apa semua dekat luar. Okay, so in and out of the classroom, try to minimize. But if you have some medical condition where you need to step out a lot, it's okay. I totally understand. Okay, right? Then satu lagi yang paling penting ni lah, yang nak lulus ni, I'm here to help you get the certificate. I'm here to help you transition into the HRD Corp market properly. So with that, certain ways of doing things, sometimes you can suppress lah for the next couple of days and think about the end goal, which is you want to enter the market. After that, you explore accordingly, because sometimes the way we do certain things before, mungkin dia tak applicable sangat. Like most trainers, dia dah biasa dengan student punya group. Suddenly dia masuk dalam working adults punya group, they can behave differently. So these are a few things you need to be mindful of. I'm not here to change you. I just want you to enhance and be the best version of yourself for your participants. Yeah. Okay. So ground rules, saya ada 3 saja ground rules. Nanti minta tolong sampaikan juga dekat Nazmi. Number 1 is I consider this as a safe room. If you have any questions, tanyalah. I try not to judge. Sebab manusia kadang-kadang dia automatically terjudge jugalah. But I don't mind. If you have any, there's no such thing as stupid question. There's only question that is not being asked and you remain uninformed. Itu aja. Okay, by all means. I hope this becomes a safe room where you get to explore, experiment, be a little bit vulnerable. If you need help, tak pandai buat slides ke apa, need help, reach out. There's certain words you are not familiar with, reach out, tanya. Utilize the space and time that you have here carefully. So that's number one. I consider this as a safe room. In order for the safe room to work, we need to have mutual respect. I respect you as professional working adults. I hope we reciprocate that with each other, regardless of age, background, apa semua. Have that mutual respect with each other, the team, the venue itself. Kadang-kadang venue pun mainkan peranan. Certain things you're not supposed to do here, macam smoking apa, follow lah. Mutual respect is very important. The third one, last sekali adalah giver's gain. Anybody here familiar with giver's gain punya concept? Not to that extent, but yes, similar. I believe that the more you give, the more you gain. What do you give? You give your attention, you give your effort, you give your questions, you give your help. The more you contribute, the more it is beneficial to you. In a way, kawan jugalah. Like I said, your reputation amongst each other, masing-masing pun seronok datang kelas, happy, lulus sama-sama lulus. Kalau ada satu orang fail, kita bersedih untuk dia, kan? Tapi nasib dia lah. But have that giver's gain mindset. Very important. Okay? Because it's not a competition. And this is also not a competition because you will find your niche, you will find your nice spot for you to earn an honest living. Okay? Alright? Any questions? All good? Boleh? Okay. So kalau boleh, no question. Sure? Okay. Okay. So kalau no question, I have a lot of question. Kita buat pretest. Lepas pretest, you can habis, you can go for your break. Okay? Make sure the pretest, kertas warna putih, white color paper, one staple and another smaller answer sheet. Write your name in the answer sheet, write your answer in the answer sheet. We will collect the answer sheet. Question sheet is yours. Kertas soalan anda punya. Kita kumpul dia punya jawapan sahaja. Okay? Don't take too much time, plus minus about 15 minutes for 15 questions. Okay? All the best. Siapa siap boleh hantar, boleh go for print. Silakan. By the way, siapa nak pinjam ni bagi tahu If you want to borrow this, let me know. Saya letak dekat depan.